Hello everyone, welcome to the schedule of Phase B conferences of the Self-Knowledge course. If you haven't watched the videos of the Phase A, I encourage you to look for them recorded in the video section of this page, since it will be easier for you to understand the topics of Phase B, if you have previously seen Phase A of the course. Today is the second topic of Phase B. In this, we are going to be doing a guided practice of reflective meditation so that we can review the practice step by step, and so that we can resolve all doubts that you may have in relation to this practice. The intention of doing this practice is that we experience reflective meditation and encourage ourselves, if we don't already do so, to dedicate a daily schedule to this practice to go deeper and deeper into the understanding of our own psychology. Before going into the practice, let's talk a little about what meditation is, what types of meditation exist, and what each one is for. Meditation is a means to achieve wisdom. It is said that meditation is the bread of the wise. Because just as our physical body needs to be nourished daily, we also need to daily feed our soul with the understandings that we receive from our superior centers when we enter into meditation and put them into activity. In our superior centers, emotional and intellectual, located in our pituitary and pineal glands, is where we find the capacity or sense of psychological self-observation, which allows us to discover in ourselves the manifestation of our psychological defects, as well as the ability to judge ourselves and come to understand each of our negative ways of being to eliminate them. When we start on this wonderful path towards self-knowledge, and we begin to practice self-observation, we are really surprised to discover how many negative ways of being live within us. These negative ways of being or psychological defects constantly lead us to make mistakes, to fall into wrong psychological states, and to spend all day in that incessant inner chatter that doesn't allow our consciousness to express itself. When we seriously observe ourselves, we discover that if we really want to advance towards the awakening and the development of our consciousness, we need to make a deep inner change. And it turns out that meditation is fundamental when we want such a change. But we must know that there are different types of meditation. And this is good for us to be clear about, since not all of them are going to lead us to make real and permanent changes within ourselves. There are, for example, contemplative meditations, which are the most abundant everywhere. This type of meditation consists of taking us through a relaxation process, harmonizing ourselves for a while, or maybe accessing other planes, but only in a contemplative mode. And these meditations, although they certainly lead us to reach a certain momentary state of peace and harmony, do not generate changes in us. Therefore, when we face again those situations in which our psychological defects tend to arise, whether it is a fight, an accident, a scene of jealousy, the loss of something or someone, an offense, a lustful situation, etc., we re-experience the same sensations, the same emotions, we re-have the same type of thoughts, and we always end up reacting in the same way. And this is why it is important that we understand the need to become serious and practice the kind of meditations that lead us to really experience transcendental changes in ourselves. Among the meditations of a transcendental type, we have the meditation with koans that we saw in Lecture 36 of Phase A, that allow us to access to the sixth and the seventh dimensions and achieve samadhi or illuminating void. And we have also the reflective meditation that we are going to practice today. The reflective meditation help us to study ourselves, and therefore, self-know and self-transform ourselves. Through reflective meditation we can resolve any kinds of traumas, recurring situations, resentments, and vices. As in this meditation we can delve in the comprehension and elimination of any psychological defect or wrong way of being. The raw material for reflective meditation is going to be the different situations that we have experienced in our lives. Each one of the things that we have lived, no matter how difficult and traumatic it may have been, brought with it a very important lesson, and contains a great wisdom that is trapped in those psychological defects that manifested within us in those moments. And only when we go in meditation to that scene, and get to observe all those negative ways of being that acted in us, and we get to understand them and eliminate them, we are going to rescue an important wisdom in this regard that will allow us to free ourselves, and never make that mistake again. For that reason, we are going to be achieving real changes within ourselves. And that is why this meditation is so important, because from each reflective meditation practice that we do, we come out better people. So reflective meditation, as we can see, consists of bringing to meditation the scene of our life in which the psychological defect that we want to work on has manifested itself in us. Either because it is a flaw that we know is continually leading us to make mistakes and lose our energy, to harm others and to harm ourselves, or because our inner being in the astral world has shown it to us. Whether we have seen ourselves making a mistake in the dream, or in a conscious astral projection, or because we have seen someone else there making that mistake. We must remember that what we see in the astral plane is part of our psychological country. Therefore, they are always aspects that we must work on ourselves. So, we are going to reconstruct in meditation that scene in which the psychological defect has manifested, maybe be it a pleasant situation or circumstance, or an unpleasant one. And when reconstructing that scene, whatever be the scene, of anger, of violence, of fear, of lust, laziness, jealousy, infidelity, one in which we, for example, reacted with pride or hurt someone. Or if we want to work on some vice, or some bad habit that we have, we are going to bring to meditation that scene in which that defect has manifested in us. We are going to bring to the meditation the memory of the scene in which this defect has manifested itself most strongly in our life. Then, we will look in detail at every reaction we had in that scene, the details of the flaw that manifested in our emotion, in our mind, in our actions, and in the words that it made us say. Let's say, for example, that we will bring to meditation a scene of our life where anger manifested strongly in us. Let's say a fight with someone. We are going to review the scene, using our conscious imagination, and we are going to observe in detail, for example, what moved in our emotion. There we could find that there was a tension in our emotion, that there was like fear, or annoyance, feelings of displeasure, and even hatred. And for each little detail that we discover that was moving in our emotion, we are going to beg our Divine Mother to eliminate it. And we are going to observe what moved in our mind, how anger was moving our mental part at that moment, leading us to imagine, to remember, or to plan a revenge, for example. Or we could discover how we were justifying ourselves in our minds, blaming the other person, etc. And we are going to see everything as detailed as possible with the true intention of self-discovery. And we will also observe what we desired, what we did, and what we said. And we will be asking for death to each little detail. And if we, for example, stop seeing details, a very good way to go deeper into a wrong way of being is asking yourself, why? Why were you feeling, thinking, acting, or talking like that? Seeking to find what is the defect or defects behind that reaction you had. When practicing this meditation, we must take into account certain things. When we reconstruct the scene, we must not identify ourselves with the scene. We have to make a division between the observer, which is our consciousness, and the observed, which are the psychological defects that acted in us in that scene that we are working on. We are going to see it like a movie, but without getting into the movie. So that we don't end up, for example, if it is a scene of anger, we don't end up getting angry again, or wanting to seek for revenge. So we are going to make that division, and we are going to observe our defects and eliminate them. In no case should we accept any justification that our defects give us. We are not going to excuse ourselves. We are going to strongly judge ourselves, to strongly judge our own defects that are the cause of our reactions. We will never judge others because at the moment in which we justify ourselves, or we begin to judge, or to blame others for what we did, or for what has manifested in us, our ability to transform ourselves, which is the critical judgment, immediately falls asleep. It is important when faced with an error that we believe we see in others, to put ourselves in their shoes, and think about when we have acted in the same way, to understand that the defect that we criticize in others, we also have within ourselves. And once understood and eliminated, we will understand and forgive others. And it is important to remember to repeat this practice whenever we have the opportunity. Because sometimes, multiple reflective meditation sessions are necessary on certain psychological defects. Since sometimes they are large defects which we have fed with our energy for a long time, and are made up of multiple details that we must carefully observe, discover, and eliminate. And well, without further ado, let's get ready to do the practice. The first thing is to find a comfortable position, hopefully in a quiet place where we will not be interrupted during the time that we are going to dedicate to this practice. We can also, if we want, look for paper and pencil or something to write down, because sometimes it is useful to take notes of important details that we find in the meditation to go deeper into them. For example, if you discover in a scene of anger that the trigger of your wrong reaction was pride, because you felt that your pride was hurt, and that made you angry. And there you get to understand that this is a very common trigger for your anger, and that it has manifested on many other occasions. What you do is to write down that detail to delve into it later. Remember that each detail of our ego that we manage to understand and eliminate from our psychology is a percentage of our consciousness, of our essence, that we are releasing. And it is wisdom, and it is courage that we rescue, and that was previously trapped in that self. But now that it is released, it passes to the consciousness, to increase the percent of consciousness that we have. So, it is important that we have clear what is the psychological defect that we want to work on in this meditation that we will do today. And if you are already as comfortable as possible, we are going to start by performing the protection conjurations, to harmonize and close the place where we are, and to clean it from negative energies. And we are going to make also a small request for assistance to our inner being. If you haven't learned the protection conjurations yet, you can read them here, or you can follow it along with me. So let's sing the Balileen, which is the magical chant that clean the space in which we find ourselves of all negative energies and entities.
Baliling, Baliling, Baliling. Anchor of salvation, I would like to be close to you. Materialism has no power over me. Baliling, Baliling, Baliling.
Now let's make the magic circle of protection. Let's close our eyes and concentrate it in our hearts. And we will humbly ask to our inner Father like this. Father of mine, Lord of mine, God of mine. I beg you, if it is your will, to command my elemental intercessor to leave from my body and draw a magical circle of protection around this place, in order to make it free from any evil forces. Elemental intercessor, elemental intercessor, elemental intercessor. Do your work in the name of Christ, by the power of Christ, by the majesty of Christ. Now we imagine how the elemental intercessor trace a green fiery circle around the place we are, in a clockwise direction, while we mentally sing the mantra, S 3 times. Now let's ask for assistance to our inner Father, who is the force of wisdom of our consciousness, and to our Divine Mother, who is the force of love in us, to assist us in this practice. You can do it with your own words. Or it can be like this. My Father, my Lord, my God, Divine Mother, I humbly ask you to assist me in this practice of reflective meditation, to be able to observe, to understand, and eliminate this negative way of being from within. Now we are going to do a quick relaxation process. We are going to relax our emotional area by breathing deeply and slowly, about 3 times. Let's start. Let's inhale slowly and long. Hold the air a little. And exhale through the mouth. Imagine how all the pressure you have in your emotion comes out when you exhale, and your emotional area relaxes. Now one more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Now we are going to relax our mind so that mind is silent and ready for this moment of meditation. For this, we are going to close our eyes and listen for a minute to all the noises around us, but without identifying with any of them. We listen to them, and we let them go, looking for more and more distant sounds. Let's start now. Let's return to our heart, and now we're going to do quick relaxation of our physical body. For this, we are going to feel each one of the parts of our body, and we will imagine that a bright light penetrates and relaxes each area of the body that we are feeling. Let's start with the right foot. We feel it, we relax it, and we continue with the calf, the knee, the thigh. The whole leg is now relaxed and filled with that calming warm light. Let's now do the same with the left leg. Let's feel how that warm and bright light enters through the big toe, and our left foot is invaded by that light, and it is relaxing it. Our entire foot. Now the calf. Then the knee. The thigh. The entire leg is now completely relaxed. Now we are going to relax our right arm. We feel our right hand. Imagine how that light is relaxing the hand, and that slowly rises through the entire arm up to the shoulder, relaxing it completely. And now we do the same with the entire left arm. Now we feel our lower back and the buttocks. And we feel our genital area, our hips, and we imagine how that bright light relaxes and releases that entire area. We feel our stomach, our chest full of that light. And we now imagine how this light runs through our entire back, relaxing it completely. And any point that we feel tense, we release it and relax it. We feel our shoulders and we also relax them. We feel our neck. We imagine how this light invades our entire head and relaxes us completely. And now we say to our physical body 3 times. I order you, physical body, to relax, unwind, and calm down. I order you, physical body, to relax, unwind, and calm down. I order you, physical body, to relax, unwind, and calm down. Well, now that we are in this state of relaxation and harmony, we are going to move on to reflective meditation. What we are going to do is that we are going to bring up with our conscious imagination a scene in which this psychological defect we have decided to eliminate has been manifested. And we are going to observe in detail each thought, each emotion, each desire, each word or action we made, identifying in them all details of the ego in manifestation. And to each detail that we discover, we are going to ask our Divine Mother to eliminate it from us. We are going to give ourselves 10 minutes this time to review that scene. If you manage to review the whole scene, and we haven't finished the 10 minutes yet, you can go back to review the whole scene again, looking to go deeper and see more and more details. And if you want, you can take note of the details you are observing, and the understanding that you are receiving. If you feel any kind of anxiety, or anything that makes you feel uncomfortable during meditation, you can also observe that emotion, that anxiety, or that sensation, and you can ask to your Divine Mother to eliminate that. You are going to release the area where you are experiencing that, and then you will continue with the scene that you are working on. So, let's start from now. Well, the 10 minutes of meditation are over. I hope you had the opportunity to observe, discover, and eliminate many details of the psychological defect that you were working on. This was just a 10-minute guided practice, so that you see the step-by-step of reflective meditation. But the idea is that we dedicate daily spaces to this practice to work on our psychology. And it is vitally important that we set a daily schedule of meditation on the defects of lust that prevent us from achieving chastity and making wise use of our sexual energy. It is important that we take these scenes of lust to meditation to be able to observe, understand, and eliminate all those defects detail by detail. Observe how they manifest in our mind, emotion, in our sexual part, and in our entire body in the form of different tensions and sensations of a sexual nature. Observe and eliminate all that always push us to fall into the error of spilling the sexual energy out of our body through the orgasm and ejaculation. Now let's each one of us, with our own words, thank our Divine Father and Mother for their guidance and their assistance in the practice. And well, this has been today's practice. I hope it has been useful to you. Remember that you can leave any questions or comments, and we will be answering your questions. I invite you to the next topic of this cycle, in which we will be doing an astral unfolding or astral projection practice. So, this has been all for today. I hope that you're encouraged to continue doing this practice of reflective meditation. Thank you very much to all of you.